Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, you want any of that?
Yeah. Cilantro.
Cilantro.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Great.
Cilantro.
That's what Italians say. I mean, they say salud, but they mostly say cilantro. Well, I mean, I guess...
It's the same thing.
Okay.
Cilantro, I think, is the same as, like, health.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I was just realized cilantro, I don't even know if that's used in Italian cooking.
Cilantro's got to be Italian, the term.
Yeah.
Because they call it coriander in Britain.
What?
Do you not know this?
I thought coriander was a totally different thing.
No, coriander is cilantro. I assume it's French, coriander.
Coriander.
But that's what they call it.
Coriander.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got.
I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got. Yeah, good.
Mr. Gorbachev.
You didn't build that.
Mr. Gorbachev.
Yeah, good.
Tear down this wall.
Your favorite president?
Tear down this wall.
I can see Russia from my house. Pokemon go to the polls.
Yeah, good.
Watch your country.
He did say well of that.
Faith and begorrah, America. Thank you for tuning in. This is a chicken in every gosh darn pod.
Top of the morning to you.
That's offensive. That's offensive. We don't say that.
You don't believe in mornings in Ireland?
No, we don't. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
My name is Kyle McCormick. I am one of your co-hosts of Chicken in Every Pod. With me, as always, is the lovely and talented Lucia Fasano.
Lucio Fasano.
Lucia Fasano.
Fasano the morning. Fasano the morning.
Kiss the Fasani stone.
Kyle Christopher McCormick.
Now they're gonna steal my identity. They know my middle name.
Okay, sorry.
That's all right. Hey everybody, it's been a hot minute. Real quick, housekeeping update. We're probably going to be closer to an every other week release schedule than the every Saturday release schedule we had announced previously.
I think just don't worry about it.
Just don't worry about it, but that's the rough estimate because I'm in graduate school and I'm very busy and it sucks.
Yeah.
So that's the big why of it.
Also, it's a pandemic, so, that's...
Hold your horses. Basically.
Oh, I thought you were interrupting me, like...
No! I was
just looking at you like,
I was telling
the
the listeners
doing?
to hold their horses.
Okay, yeah. Hold your horses, which is probably an Irish slang.
Could be.
Hold your horses.
Could be anything. Could be Roman. They had horses.
It's true.
Are you to deny that the Romans had horses?
No. Why'd you take your headphones off?
Because the monitoring's not on. There's a delay.
Okay.
And so it was just
weird.
It was making you less clear to me.
Do you take them off? Because they're...
Take them off entirely?
Yeah, it's like weird that you have them on, but you're not.
You don't like the high fidelity look of the headphones around the neck?
No, I don't.
All right.
It feels like you're being... Like you're not listening to me. Like you can't hear me. Can you hear me, Major Kyle?
So, Luch, we're coming up on another big holiday.
Yeah. Big Holiday 6.
Big holiday... Is that a Big Hero 6 reference?
Yeah.
I never saw that.
Well, me neither.
That's true.
So whatever. Yeah, so last we left off was was our Black History Month episode.
Right.
And now we are in Green History Month. So
That's true.
we are going to talk about some of the Irish people in America.
Right, we're going to talk about the history of Irish Americans in the United States. Now, this is a personal topic to me, Kyle McCormick, because we're talking about many of my ancestors here.
Yeah.
Now, for the recording of this, as some of you may have seen on Instagram or Twitter already, I am indeed wearing a kilt and a, old-timey shirt.
Like a Highlander shirt.
Yeah, but now, before anybody comes at me, arguing, wait a second, aren't kilts more Scottish than Irish? I would say this. Yeah, they're probably more Scottish than Irish. But there is a history of kilt wearing in Ireland, largely as a part of a 19th century drive to have Gaelic and Celtic unity with Scotland. But also, I'm part Scottish too. So I'm allowed. And I'm wearing the tartan of the great state of California, which is my home.
Greenish, reddish, yellowish, bluish to represent the colors of nature in California. Because it's sort of based on John Muir's tartan.
It's a small amount of John Muir's tartan, and as well as colors of the Pacific, the redwood forests, and something else probably.
Did we say the ocean?
I said the Pacific.
Okay.
That's the ocean.
Be more specific.
God.
And we're drinking a wee dram.
We're having a wee dram. This is Irish whiskey we're enjoying. This is we're sharing a glass of Bushmills.
It's pretty sweet.
Yep.
But also has that sourness of alcohol.
Yep. Irish whiskey is sweeter than Scotch, which we've been enjoying, which is more smoky.
Yeah.
And this is a wee Irish dram. Now, the most famous brand of Irish whiskey, Lucia, is Jameson's.
Mm-hmm.
You perhaps heard of
Jameson.
J. Jonah Jameson.
When you drink it, you suddenly are longing for pictures of Spider-Man.
More than I already am. But the problem with Jameson's, which is why we're enjoying Bushmills, not Jameson's, is Jameson is Protestant whiskey.
So you're going to say, like, it makes me fart.
Well, that all makes me fart.
Okay.
But Jameson is Protestant whiskey.
Uh-oh.
And the McCormicks, we're Catholics.
Stinking papists.
We're stinking papists. So we're enjoying some Catholic whiskey, as is our right. So...
The body and blood.
That's right. The body and blood.
Wasted Irish Christ.
Irish Christ is just blackout drunk.
Yeah, he
fighting
just tastes
people.
like whiskey and crackers? I don't know.
Soda crackers.
Soda crackers.
It would be the Irish version, like soda bread.
Yeah.
Yum. It is good. Soda bread's good.
We other updates in our lives. Still watching Outlander, which is maybe connected to the kilt, perhaps.
Yep.
Maybe why he has a kilt. Also, I got my first vaccine 2 days ago.
Lucia's half vaxxed.
So both of your podcast hosts are half vaxxed, so you, the listener, are even safer from us.
You're a quarter vaxxed.
Yeah,
for listening to us.
And I'm a quarter vexed from listening to you.
Oh, jeez.
Take my husband, please.
Faith and begorrah.
Oh, my fiance.
Yeah, we're vaxxing up. And here's the thing. Like my ancestors, who ultimately became an intermarriage of Catholic and Protestant, which was very rare, but they did it. Like them, Lucia and I, with our vaccines, are a kind of interfaith marriage. Because I got Pfizer.
And I got Moderna.
Let's call the whole thing off.
Okay.
So, we're keeping it cute. Keeping it as cute as possible.
Yeah, I'm a little drowsy from the vaccine. Apparently the Moderna, the first one is a little stronger than the Pfizer one in terms of how it hits you.
Yeah, the Moderna in general is stronger than the Pfizer. So your second kick will also be quite hefty.
Nice.
I don't know if we talked about it on the pod because it was last week, but I got my first Pfizer vaccine because I'm a teacher. I work in public schools. Don't look up where. Not that it's public record, but
yeah, it's great because Kyle's a student teacher, so they were like, "Show us your pay stub," and it was like, "They don't pay me."
I don't have a pay stub. Eventually, I was able to use my the letter I got from my college, my graduate school, assigning me to the school. So that got me through. But I got mine, and folks, I was a little wrecked for a day or two or three after. I was leveled pretty low.
So don't get the vaccine. You might have a couple bad days.
No, get them. Get it. I mean,
the corona's just like the flu, so
It's just like the flu. You know what's funny about the just like the flu?
We're just kidding.
We're obviously just kidding. But you know what the funny thing is about just like the flu?
What?
When they say, oh, it's just the flu. The flu kills a lot of people every year.
Yeah, people go to the hospital for the flu.
Still quite bad. People die of the flu all the time.
Yeah, I like how they're like, I don't want to feel crappy a few days by getting the vaccine. Because if I get corona, it's just like the flu. And it's like, well, the flu is worse than feeling crappy.
Get your fucking vaccine-a-roonies, folks.
Yeah.
I want to share real quick, while we're talking about this, an example of why you got to get your vaccine-a-roonies. My cousin, who is not only around our age, but actually a few years younger than both of us, he got COVID in January. He's okay, but he also is now being hospitalized for pneumonia.
In both lungs.
Never had a respiratory problem in his entire life. And now, not only is he hospitalized for pneumonia, which, by the way, I saw he's coming out of the hospital today, I believe. So he'll be okay, Cilantro. But he will now be prone to pneumonia for the rest of his life. He has weakened lung capacity for the rest of his life. And this guy, I'm pretty sure my cousin Justin is like 24, 25 years old.
Yeah, and he's very skinny.
Yeah, super fit,
He loves
young skater guy.
He loves to smoke weed, which now he is going to probably have to do edibles because of his lung capacity. So it's like, yeah, take this seriously, and we're wishing him the best.
Yeah, prayers up
Yes.
for my cousin Justin. He'll be fine, but it's still very scary.
Very scary. Yeah, and regulations are changing every day.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know what is going on in terms of when they can get their vaccine or their loved ones. So please always be checking your local sites, your local clinics, your local pharmacies. Just ask, be gutsy. Don't take no for an answer. Just say, hey, do you have the vaccine? Yeah. Hey, can you give it to me? Can you give it to my uncle? Can you?
This is something that the Department of Health and Human Services should be handling for everybody.
And they drop the ball.
And they're not.
So you've
got to do it. And here's the thing.
Be gutsy.
A chicken in every pod is a judgment-free vaccine zone.
Yeah.
We are both big believers in the reality that everybody needs to have this vaccine. Everybody does. And they have so fucked up this rollout. I mean, it's so unclear, so confusing, so vexing, that get it when you can.
Yeah.
Whenever the system lets you come and get that vaccine, no matter where you're at, get it. Because everybody needs to get it. So if there's any confusion, push for it.
And if you're looking at the website and you know that you are qualified, but the website is saying, are you a healthcare worker or blah, blah, or old? If not, then you can't go to advance to the next page. Just select that you're a healthcare worker or something, because that's not legally binding. That's just going to take you to the next page where you can sign up for what you qualify for. What is yours? That's how I signed up my brother, who his BMI allows him to qualify.
Yes.
He just got his today when he's allowed to. But he would not have had that appointment if I didn't do what I just said and essentially break a rule so I could do the legal proper thing for my brother, else he might have to wait a week.
He was qualified as of today, and the website did not adjust to make appointments for people that qualified as of today.
Yeah, so, which is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It's a terrible system. I tweeted a bit, I told Lucia a bit. I have no interest in federalism anymore. I'm a big central government guy. I'm a big government guy now. The government should be handling all of this, and it should just be taking care of it. I'm vexed. I'm utterly vexed.
You're vexed and vaxxed.
I'm vexed and half vaxxed. Full vex, half vax.
Yeah. So we're excited. I've also read more promising things about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
Yes.
Which got approved to be used. So it's one of those things where a good quote I saw is, the best shot for you is the first one you can get in your arm.
Yes.
So if you're having trouble getting an appointment, but your local Walgreens has Johnson & Johnson, you give it a shot.
Take
pun
it
intended.
Take it from your Uncle Kyle and your Auntie Lucci. Whatever you can get. Even if the Johnson & Johnson does permanently turn out to be slightly less effective than the other two, whatever you can get soonest is going to be most effective for you. Mm-hmm. And the more everybody gets everything, the greater herd immunity is going to go up. 7 to 10% effectiveness is not going to matter in 3 months if everybody is getting everything they can.
Exactly.
So just get the coverage you can. It's like a fucking condom. Just put it on.
Put it on. Put that condom on.
Is it perfect? No. But put it on.
As I tweeted, when you got to get it, put it in you.
When you got it, get it, got it, put it in you.
Yeah, right. You got to give it to your mama, and you got to give it to your papa.
That's true.
And you got to give it to your daughter. You do a little dance, and then you drink a
little water.
Stay hydrated.
You do. You gotta stay hydrated.
When you got it, gotta get it, put it in you. When you got it, gotta get it, put it in you.
When you got it, gotta get it, put it in you. Riddle with the feeling, don't stop.
Continue to get your part
vaccinated.
2, your second vaccine.
That's right.
Realize I don't want to get COVID. Realize I don't want to be stupid.
Morbid.
Oh, God. Anyway, so please.
So, folks, get your damn vaccine already. That's all there is to it.
Also, if you and your loved ones... if you and your loved ones don't qualify yet, fucking raise hell. Write to your officials. Right. Keep pushing your doctors and your local clinics because some of these vaccines are going to waste because people aren't getting them, So, that's why California has finally let people with chronic conditions or disabilities get the vaccine is because of disability activists using the hashtag #HighRiskCA saying, people are going to die, young people are going to die, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. And Joe Biden recently apparently made a speech saying, that by May 1st he wants everyone to have access.
Every adult in the United States will be able to get vaccinated by May 1st. Mm-hmm. There'll be enough doses, which should set July 4th as his goal for everybody's fine. And here's the thing.
That would be crazy if he's we're going to have the biggest 4th of July.
Yeah. You want to hear a big bank shot prediction from me?
What?
Presuming nobody really transformative and important comes along. The no Neo-Bernie comes along and changes things. Mm-hmm. I think it's very plausible, even possible, maybe even likely, that Joe Biden will be the most popular president of our lifetime.
Yeah,
most successful?
Crazy.
I don't know. But the fact that he is fixing COVID and will inherit the economic rebound that will come with that, I could very easily see him being the most popular president of our lifetime. Yeah. Through no fault, nothing he does. He doesn't have to do anything.
Just the timing.
Just that he's there when it's all fine. He's there when it's fixed.
And that leads us to Trump Watch. March 2021. Is he alive? Well, Kyle is going to read this statement from Donald J. Trump.
From March 10th, 2021. I hope everyone remembers when they're getting the COVID-19, often referred to as the China virus vaccine, that if I wasn't president, you wouldn't be getting that beautiful shot for 5 years at best, and probably wouldn't be getting it at all. I hope everyone remembers.
Exclamation mark.
So here's my take on that. I have a controversial take on that.
Okay, well, one moment. I will say, really fucked up that the phrase China virus or Chinese virus is still a thing.
Yeah.
Asian Americans are getting more discriminated than ever and getting hate crimed. That's bad. Anyway.
Yeah. Wait, no, I'll say on that. Mm-hmm. This podcast is firmly, obviously, pro-civil liberties and civil rights for Asian Americans. And also, we're not drumming up Cold Wars against China. We're not interested in that as a podcast. We're not interested in saber-rattling against China. So, hey, Republicans, they're trying to fearmonger about China. To the left, say we.
To the left, yes.
Ideologically and physically get out of the way. I will say this about Donald J. Trump. He's not wrong.
He is wrong about that we wouldn't be getting the vaccine for 5 years.
That's incorrect.
That's very funny.
That's incorrect.
But
he's not
there's
wrong
some
about...
truth to his statement, and then he throws in something crazy.
That's the classic Trump thing.
That's like being if it wasn't for me, there'd be werewolves. It's it'd be like
that
him
is
saying,
the plot of the newest Leader Extraordinary Gentleman. There is werewolves.
Well, no, it'd be like his statement would be like, I hope everybody remembers that I gave them the stimulus checks, but also they're werewolves. It's like, okay, that first part was true.
That's so true.
And then,
because he's not wrong. Okay, if this were normal times, if he was a normal president that didn't drive everyone off the fucking deep end, which, by the way, remind me before we get into the Irish to talk about an Italian.
Oh God. Okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
Okay, I don't know.
You do. But he's not wrong that we wouldn't have the vaccine without the Trump administration.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's the case. That's who was there. And they funded Operation Warp Speed to get the vaccine, which is what Pfizer and I believe Moderna also got funds from. That's good, though. That's fine. That's good. And I can say this now without fear of re-electing Donald Trump because A, I voted for Joe Biden.
They're going to say, A, I voted for Donald Trump.
And B, he's not up for re-election right now. So I can say that's good. That's a good thing that happened. In the morass of terrible things that this terrible psychopath president did, he at least did the bare minimum of helping fund the vaccines.
Okay, cool it, Limbaugh.
Wait, an Italian. So
Cuomo?
we gotta talk Cuomo for a second. It's in the news.
Ecce Cuomo. We're talking
Cuomo.
Oh, what you talking about the Cuomo?
He's just really bad.
Yeah, and he's like, has Harvey Weinstein's lawyers or something?
Yeah, I had a thing to say about Cuomo.
All Sharon lawyers.
I kind of lost it because I got wrapped up in defending Trump as a bit. But, folks, let me tell you, Andrew Cuomo's bad. Andrew Cuomo has been well known for being bad for a long time.
And he took away our Miranda rights, aka our right to having
Right,
Cynthia Nixon
as governor.
be governor of New
But
York.
the thing that really, this is the thing that reminded me of Cuomo from talking about Trump. What really chaps my hide about this
Is you're wearing a kilt, so.
and my hide is chapped from sitting on this leather couch while I'm wearing a kilt. The traditional style, if you know what I mean. Is that all these people, these Twitter people, these online people, whose brains were completely broken by Russiagate, right? Completely broken by the idea that the only reason Trump is president is because Putin installed him, which is insane. Look, I'm not going to deny that Russian intelligence had some interest in Trump becoming president. I'm
Russian
sure
intelligence?
they did.
Talk
Are
about
you mad?
An oxymoron.
That's the Austin Powers quote. Russian intelligence, are you mad?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's just a
You
deep in my core.
You reworked the Austin Powers quote on accident. That's really funny.
Most of my humor is just Mike Myers jokes told in different ways.
Mike Myers is the GOAT. This is pro Mike Myers podcast.
Yeah. Better out than in, we always say.
Somebody once told me
Okay.
these people lost their mind because of
What are you
Russiagate.
fucking talking
I'm talking about the thing we're talking about.
No more whiskey when recording.
I'm talking about I'm talking about the thing we're talking about.
Which is
The people have lost their minds from Russiagate, and now they're training all their fire on Cuomo to defend Cuomo from the belief that the only reason there's allegations against Andrew Cuomo is a plot to get a Republican governor in charge of New York
which wouldn't happen,
and
right?
pardon Donald Trump's lawsuit. See, so you accuse me of these things, but I have a clear path that I'm walking on here. I have the path of righteousness on which I walk. And this is insane. This is completely insane. If Andrew Cuomo resigns, inshallah,
In July.
the governor will be Kathy Hochul, who is the current lieutenant governor.
And she loves chocolate.
And she loves chocolate. And she's a longtime ally of Andrew Cuomo's. So, like, this is not...
It doesn't make sense.
Dan Bongino is not going to become governor of New York if he's removed. And even if he's removed in the election in 2022, a Republican's not going to win, you guys. You guys. That's New York. It's not going to happen.
Okay, so this has been the modern times.
Right.
And now we want to sing a song of the Emerald Isle.
Faith and begorrah.
When Kyle ordered his kilt,
Right.
it came with this adorable little pamphlet called Talkin' Irish. Not to be confused with Talking Dead.
Or talking softball.
Yes. So you'll celebrate like the Irish. Now talk like them too.
I'll judge if this is offensive, folks.
Oh God, there's probably going to be so many people out in the streets celebrating St. Patrick's Day. I guess out in the streets is better than crammed in a bar.
Out in the streets is better than... Hey, you know what? Better out than in.
All
That's what I
right.
always
Lesson 1. People you meet. Okay, I'm going to read these and you have to guess what they mean.
Great.
Did you already read this?
No.
Okay. Rugger bugger.
Wait, what's the context for rugger bugger?
It's a person you'll meet. A rugger bugger.
I don't know.
A loud rugby fan.
Okay.
Okay, the second person. Idiot.
That's an idiot.
That's right. Someone behaving foolishly. You fucking idiot. You fucking idiot.
Fucking.
A mot. M-O-T.
That's an officer in the Galactic Empire's army. Navy. Galactic Navy.
Mott Isley.
Yeah.
Mott.
Grand
Moff.
Admiral Piet. Mott Piet.
Okay. It means girlfriend, which you will not have if you
What?
keep talking like that about Star Wars. Give it a lash. If some fluthered rugger bugger at the pub is acting like an idiot in front of your mott, tell him to feck off.
I'm always saying that.
This is a great pamphlet. Lesson 2.
Hold on.
Lesson 2. Your sweet family. Fella.
Fella? Mm-hmm. That's just like a fellow, right? Like a friend?
A boyfriend / husband. Your fella.
Yeah.
Then there's old fella.
Old fella? An old boyfriend.
Your father.
Sure.
Old,
Same thing.
Old dear.
Old dear? Your mom?
Yes.
Yes.
Give it a lash. Whenever your fella and your old fella get together, they end up so langers your old dear has to call a Joe Maxi for him. I don't know, maybe an Uber has to call them an Uber. I don't know.
Wait, can I see it? Because it's the backside of that. A Joe Maxi. That almost feels like Cockney rhyming slang for taxi.
Call a Joe Maxi for him. Okay. Lesson 3, conflict resolution.
Oh, jeez. We're good at that.
Puck.
I don't know.
To punch.
Oh, shit. It's a verb.
Puck.
To puck. I'm going to puck you in the kisser.
Guff.
It's like bullshit.
Yeah, disrespect. Don't give me no guff.
Don't give me any guff. I got that one.
Wind your neck in.
It's like watch your head, kind of? Like watch your shit?
Mind your business.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Give it a lash. Is a sloshed melter giving you guff? Best tell him to wind his neck in or else he's about to get a puck in the gob. Fair play.
Your accent remains pretty Scottish, but that's fine. It's not a crime.
Well, not at least my Scottish accent is improved.
The Scottish accent's good.
Okay, well, tell me how to do a good Irish accent.
An Irish accent,
Irish.
as opposed to a Scottish. Here's the thing. A Scottish accent, you hit your R's pretty hard. This is Scottish, right?
Yeah,
it's
right.
It's in the front of your mouth, and you hit your R's pretty hard. You almost roll them. You don't quite roll them. It's not quite Spanish. But you hit them.
This is Scottish.
This is Scottish. In Irish, it's further back in the throat.
Further back in the
You don't necessarily roll your R's. You hit them hard and you hang out in them. And you talk in the back of your mouth when you're talking. Otherwise, it's fairly similar. But it's sort of melodic and you talk in the back of your mouth. Was that pretty good?
It's pretty good. Okay.
Hell yeah.
What sentence should I say in Irish? Another head hangs slowly. Time is slowly taken. And the violence causes silence. Okay.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good. So I should just sing cranberry songs like, oh, my life is changing every
That's a great Irish accent.
every possible way.
Hey, you know what?
What?
R.I.P.
God, so sad.
Sincerely. Like, respectfully R.I.P. Dolores
Yes.
O'Riordan.
Blessed be. Okay, lesson 4. Useful phrases. Story horse? Question mark?
I have no idea what that is.
How's it going?
Story horse?
Yeah.
Okay, I think this is Scottish people making kilts, trying to make goobers of Irish people.
Story horse?
No.
How's it going? On me Todd.
Amistad? The film?
On me Todd.
You want to have sex with Todd?
Going to the bar alone. So yes, you want to have sex with Todd, but you're going to the bar
Well, that's
alone.
why you're going to the bar alone, is to pick up Todd.
I'm finishing this whiskey because it's mostly an ice cube.
That's fine.
Okay. Wired to the moon.
What? What does that mean?
Wired to the moon.
Let me play.
Okay, it means that feeling the morning after St. Patrick's Day.
Hungover.
Now you're sucking diesel.
Now you're sucking diesel nuts.
Side note, strongly recommend Dairy Girls on
Oh
Netflix.
yeah, Dairy Girls is great.
Dairy
great
Girls.
show.
There's also a Great British Bake-Off episode with some of the cast of Dairy Girls that is delightful. And
It's Irish.
It's Irish. Dairy Girls is about Irish girls in the 90s. It's autobiographical,
Yeah.
actually. It's a comedy, but there's a bit of drama because it takes place during the
Troubles.
Troubles.
The tail end of the Troubles.
Right
or,
there
or maybe
in River City.
Or maybe even that's funny, the immediate aftermath of the Trouble.
Yeah.
I think it's the immediate aftermath, because it's in the 90s.
Yeah, so...
And they're in Northern Ireland, but they are Irish Catholics.
Mm-hmm.
But I get the impression from the show that, they have like a meeting with the Protestant school. Like, I don't think the Troubles are immediately happening.
Well, people are still getting bombed.
Yeah, of course.
dying.
But
Okay, so what does now you're sucking diesel mean?
didn't you just tell me?
Yeah, so you should know.
Why am I blanking
Well, I don't know if
on
I
it?
told you. It means things are going great.
Oh, okay. I was like, I thought you told me, but I
All right.
can't remember. I don't think you actually did.
Give it a lash. How are you, mate, story horse? Last night I was on me Todd, and I got so locked that I'm wired to the moon today. Now you're sucking diesel.
All right, this is terrible. We're done with this.
That is the end.
I hate this.
Now stop foostering about and pull your socks up.
No.
Get out there and try it.
No, I'm going to keep foostering. I hate that.
Okay, well now we are really prepared for learning about the history of Irish
Right.
immigrants to America.
Right. So we're going to do a brief but good history of Irish Americans in the United States. As we mentioned up top, this is a personal story to me because I'm an Irish American.
And you're also like over 200 years old.
Also, I am over 200 years old. So there's actually two kinds of Irish Americans. Did you know that?
The kind that prosecute law and the ones that are their attorneys.
It's a Law and Order joke.
Yes.
It's pretty good.
The two types of Irish, the ones who investigate crimes and the ones...
No, the Irish are only
Okay.
the cops. They're not the
That's
lawyers.
true. The Irish are cops that walk around with a bristly mustache and hit their
the baton.
against
The
their
nightstick.
their nightstick against their hands.
Yeah, and say, "Oh, what have we got here?
What's a cop called?
A bobby? A
Lieutenant
copper? Lieutenant?"
O'Flaherty.
So there's two kinds of Irish immigrants to the United States. And they're usually lumped together, understandably, but they are two very distinct cultural heritages. And what's interesting about them is that I'm actually descended from both, so I can talk about both pretty clearly. Most Irish Americans are actually not. It's actually somewhat uncommon to be descended from both, but I am. So the first Irish in America came in the 17th century, right? The pre-independence era, when it was still an English colony. And they were Irish Catholics, and they were mostly indentured servants or even relatively close to slaves. But the thing is, most of these Irish did not have kids. They did not move into the United States. They lived and they died, childless, as servants.
Shit.
It's a bummer. And by the time of the Revolution, Catholicism, which is a very big deal for the Irish, was not legal in most of the United States. Do you know the one colony that Catholicism was legal in?
No.
Maryland.
Because of Mary, the Virgin Mary?
I mean, that's what it's named after, but, that wasn't really why. It just so happened that the governors of Maryland were sympathetic to the Catholic cause, the papist cause, and they allowed their practice. In fact, there is one signer of the Declaration of Independence who was Irish Catholic. It was Charles Carroll, and he was a delegate from Maryland. And he was a practicing Catholic of Irish heritage, the only one that signed the Declaration. So, Irish Catholics were not unheard of in the colonial United States, but it was not they were not allowed to practice their religion in most of the country. So, which brings us to the first wave of real mass immigration of people we consider Irish.
The Green Wave.
The Green Wave. These were Irish Protestants, and they were largely Presbyterian, and they were largely descended from an event called the Plantation of Ulster. Mm-hmm. Now, Ulster is in Northern Ireland. There's 4 provinces in Ireland, and Ulster is the northernmost. Most of Ulster is what we now call Northern Ireland, part of the UK. And in the, I believe, 17th, maybe early 18th century, there was a program called the Plantation of Ulster, where the king sent a bunch of Scottish and Northern English Protestants to go live in Ulster, Ireland, and to basically seed it with Protestants to try to help kill out the Catholic in Ireland. Now, the descendants of those folks moved to the U.S. en masse in the 18th century, before the Revolution. And they mostly settled in the backwoods. They came in through Pennsylvania, through the Delaware Valley mostly, and some through Virginia, and settled in what is today West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, northern Arkansas, southern Indiana, southern Illinois. This area, the northern Appalachians, basically.
Okay.
These were the first people known as Irish. And indeed, technically they were Irish. They came from Ireland, mostly. But they were Scottish and Northern English, mostly by ethnicity, and they were Protestant. Now, I have a great deal of ancestry from these folks. The Scotch Irish, they're called. Scots Irish. But they're a very distinct group. A very distinct group. About a century after they started showing up, a new group arrived. This is about the 1840s, 1850s. A new great wave of Irish immigrants arrived. And these were people that came in the wake of the famine. So there's a great famine in Ireland. Because Ireland, under orders of the King of England, who ruled over Ireland through most of this time period, was only growing potatoes. That was their main export, their main crop. Now, they weren't only growing potatoes, like most farms had other things.
That was their main.
But potatoes were their main
crop.
thing. It's honestly what corn is to the United States. It's our main thing, corn and wheat.
And soy.
And soybeans, yeah, absolutely. And there was a blight. There's a great blight.
And a blight is like when it gets diseased, or the weather's so bad it can't grow.
Yes, exactly.
Just
basically,
like a long period of
conditions that make it impossible to grow the crop.
Potatoes, they need like a lot of time to grow their little eyes and mustache and their little ears and the whole, and you stick them in, and the little blue sneakers that
The voice.
go into the top, the voice.
The classic Don Rickles voice.
The hat.
Yeah.
Takes a long time to grow.
The wife.
The
to
wife.
grow the wife. I mean, unbelievable amounts of time. But so there's a blight of potatoes. Now, there's some question as to the extent to which this famine was engineered by the English crown. But considering that the English have often wanted to commit acts of genocide against the Irish, whom they considered a different type of person, it's not impossible that there were elements of design behind this famine, comparable to what Churchill would end up doing in India in the 1920s. Hey, by the way, this podcast, in addition to everything else, Churchill, not great.
Yeah, if you take any, a quick look into Churchill, not a lot of good stuff there.
There's nothing that Churchill did. I'll put it this way. There's nothing Stalin did that Churchill didn't.
What?
Sorry.
I'll add that, part of the anti-Irish and anti-Scottish sentiment from the crown and stuff, it's also that, Celtic druidry, the sort of combination of witchcraft and mysticism and stuff was still well alive in a lot of those places. And even where there was Christianity and Catholicism, there was still believing in fairies and changelings and following Celtic holidays.
Celtic Christianity is heavily paganized,
And
yeah, absolutely.
So they wanted to wipe out the witchcraft too.
Yeah, and not to mention, talking about watching Outlander, but any potential Jacobite sentiment was a huge influence.
Yeah.
Because-
and people love St. Patrick because he drove the snakes out of Ireland. Snakes equal pagans.
Yeah, but also snakes.
But also, yeah.
Also, there are no snakes in Ireland. This is a long-standing point of dispute. There's also no snakes, so he did something literal.
I don't see any snakes here.
Faith and begorrah. So
What are you talking about?
Faith and begorrah is an Irish thing they say. It's a thing they say.
Okay.
So I keep saying it,
Okay.
and we love it.
What does it mean?
I don't know. I don't know what it means.
Great.
But it's like
I get it.
it's a thing they say.
I know.
So, Faith and begorrah. So, the 1840s and 50s, many Irish Catholics came to the United States. And this was the first time there was a huge wave of Catholic immigrants to the United States. And, in fact, this wave of immigration is what sparked the Know Nothing movement, the nativists.
What's that?
The Know Nothings were one of the most important third parties in United States history.
What?
They
I know
were-
nothing about them.
that's where the name comes from. They were called the American Party, technically. But they were instructed to say, when asked about their doings, I know nothing.
Ooh.
And so they're called the Know Nothings. But their main thing was they were against Catholic immigration to the United States. That was their main
Your main
thing.
cause.
Yeah.
Cool.
The Daniel Day-Lewis character in Gangs of New York is a classic Know Nothing, like his perspective. Also, Millard Fillmore was the Know Nothing candidate for president.
What?
After
And
he
he
had
won?
won and lost, he ran again
He
for
won
president.
as a know nothing?
No, he won as the vice presidential candidate for the Whig Party. And then he ran a few years later, because he ran as the vice president and the president died. It was Taylor. It was Zachary Taylor. Died. He became president. He did not win re-election. And I believe the next election season, this is like the 1840s, he ran as the Know Nothing candidate. Came in third place.
Hey, Joe Biden's the know nothing candidate. Okay.
But so it's a big thing. And it was largely inspired by Irish immigration, which of course paved the way for other European Catholic immigrants, including the Poles, including many Catholic Germans, of which my beloved Grandpa Hank is descended from Catholic Germans. He's Catholic. From Catholic Germans. And a particular group of which I've grown quite fond in my adulthood, which is Italians. Italian Americans.
mia.
Mamma mia. So the Irish Catholics now take over the story of Irish Americans. The Scotch Irish that came before, the Irish Protestants, they largely just subsume into their own thing. In fact, there are millions, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions, of Americans who on the census identify as having American ancestry. They say, yeah, my ancestry, my heritage is American. Those people, by and large, are
dumb. I'm just
Scotch-Irish.
kidding.
Well, they're Scotch-Irish, mostly.
So, yeah. No, I'm
So
just
dumb.
kidding. Okay.
So when you think of real redneck Irish, when you think of, and I say this with great love, the McElroys, that's Scotch-Irish mostly.
Okay. Mostly.
Mostly. Scotch-Irish mostly.
Drinking whiskey's going great. Podcasting and
No,
whiskey.
I've been doing great. I just said sh and sh again.
Okay.
And it's been going great.
It's been going great.
The Irish Catholics now became the primary group known as Irish Americans. And they became a really prominent community. They took over the Democratic Party in a lot of northern American cities, especially New York. I mean, Boss Tweed was of Irish extraction. Irish Americans were huge in the New York Democratic Party, as well as Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Cleveland, Columbus, sort of along the Great Lakes, Boston, obviously, the northeast areas. And they became kind of synonymous with the Democratic Party and with machine politics. In fact, they were so synonymous with the Democratic Party that Irish Catholics largely supported the Confederacy wherever they lived
Jesus.
in the United States. Now, the Irish were not hugely supportive of slavery, of course, but they were loyal Democrats,
Okay.
and they believed in self-determination. Many Irish Catholics saw the Union in the position of the UK, and the Confederacy is closer to Ireland.
Oh, okay. That
So they
makes
saw it
sense
as
that
a,
they
as
have
a
a
national
sympathy.
determination kind of thing, even if they were not largely pro-slavery. And indeed, most Irish Americans were from the North and did not own slaves.
They're like, someday I hope to.
Faith in begorrah. So they continued to be a major presence in major city politics for a long time. And indeed, if we include Scotch-Irish, many presidents have been of Irish extraction. The first was Andrew Jackson.
Great.
He was the first Irish-American president. But the only Irish Catholic president have been John Kennedy and Joe Biden.
Wow.
Who are the only ones descended from that generation of Irish immigration, the Catholics in the 1840s and 50s. The first Catholic nominee for president, Al Smith, Democratic nominee in 1828, I believe, was half Irish, half Italian.
Oh yeah, we like him.
Yeah, we like him.
From
And
our
he
first
was
episode.
he lost in a big way to Hoover in 1928. You're right, because he was soft on prohibition, which is well attested to by the overall tone of this episode of the podcast. Of course, by Kennedy's time, Irish Americans were well embraced by the mainstream. Although Kennedy did face some issues being Catholic, he also did win.
Yeah.
And since then, it's not an issue to be Catholic.
Yeah.
Which is a proxy for Irish identity in a lot of the U.S. Although, I mean, the only two Catholic presidents have been Irish, although Biden is an English name. It's an Anglo-Saxon name. And Mike Pence is from an Irish Catholic family,
Boo.
but he's an evangelical now. But
He's
many
a
of the
race
most
traitor.
many of the most successful have been Italian that have run. I mean, Chris Christie is Italian and Irish.
Jeez.
Rick Santorum is Italian. The Cuomos, of course.
You're just talking about Italians being successful now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Many of the most successful Catholics in politics have been Italian.
Oh, okay.
That was the point.
You're
I was
just
making.
listing people that are more successful than the Irish. First starting out with the halves.
The
Irishes.
halfies, yeah, and then you move on. So now, that's the basic, origin of Irish Americans in the United States. So before we move into some other stuff about Irish Americans and family, etc., I want to talk briefly about the history of St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day has been a holy day in Ireland for many, many centuries. St. Patrick is, of course, like we said, one of the patron saints of Ireland, alongside St. Bridget, whom is more important to us.
Because I have the same birthday as St. Bridget's Day.
That's right. And in the U.S., it's been practiced since 1605 was the year of the first ever St. Patrick's Day in the United States. Since as long as there have been Irish Catholics in the U.S., they've celebrated St. Patrick's Day. The parade in New York City, which is the longest running St. Patrick's Day parade in the world, had its first ever break last year for COVID.
Wow.
And that was the only time it hasn't happened in 250 years.
So it is as American as apple pie.
Completely correct. Now, it is not a legal holiday. It's not a federal holiday. But it is an important one. And we love to see it.
I guess, yeah.
So now to wrap up, I
I
want to
love
talk...
leprechauns.
Sure. Now, to wrap up, I want to talk about my family a little bit.
Okay.
Because I am Irish American, and I like to learn about my family history. And I just want to tell everybody a little bit about my family history as it pertains to the United States of America. I'm only going to talk about my Irish side. I have many other sides. Many English,
You contain multitudes.
Scottish, Norwegian, German. But my last name, McCormick, is Irish. And I'll talk about that side for a moment. So, the McCormick family came from Killashee, which is a village in Longford County, County Longford, Ireland.
Kill a sheep.
Kill a sheep. There's also some McCormicks in Dublin, which is not terribly far from Killashee. They came to the New World during the famine, 1840s. My great-grandfather, Martin McCormick.
Marty
McCormick. He brought his family to Canada during the famine, to a place in Ontario called Perth County. Now, Perth County, Ontario, is also where the town that Letterkenny is based on is set. So I basically share the same ancestry as the people from Letterkenny. Mine just left Ontario. But so they lived in Ontario for a bit. And then Edward McCormick, my something else'th grandfather, left Ontario to move to Western Pennsylvania. They moved to the Pittsburgh area. Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Which is not quite in the Pittsburgh area. It's closer to Youngstown, Ohio. But Newcastle, Pennsylvania, where they worked building railroads and building up channels out of Lake Erie.
The scariest lake.
The scariest, like, by far.
Lake creepy.
Lake spooky. And then, of course, they moved from there to Missouri.
Of course.
And from Missouri to Arizona, from Arizona to California.
Wow.
And ultimately, that's where I was born. So that's my Irish story. They were Catholics. They were Irish Catholics when they moved here. However, I believe my great-grandfather broke the Catholic train. I think my grandpa was baptized Catholic, but he was an atheist. He still is an atheist to this day. My dad was not raised religious. I was not raised religious. My mom is actually also baptized Catholic, although that's because her mom's family were French-Canadian. They're French Catholics.
So you got a lot of Canadians in your...
A lot of Canadians.
Which is why you're so nice.
And a lot of half-caths. That's right. That's why I'm so nice.
Half calf sounds delicious right now.
Sounds so good.
Some almond milk.
But ultimately, both my parents are agnostics. And ultimately, I probably am too.
All this war and fighting over religion just comes down to like a couple of San Diegan surf rednecks being like, fuck it. We don't give a shit. We don't want to go to church.
Yeah, I mean...
We want to go to surf.
The amount of Irish Catholic and English Protestant intermarriage in my family tree is like, historically speaking, like Israelis and Palestinians getting married. Like, you know, these are very subjugated groups that were literally genocided for many years. But hey, that's where we're at now. And now, baby, it's St. Patrick's Day week.
Yeah, so you can celebrate by, we watched, is it Leap Year? Starring Amy Adams and the guy that played Ozymandias in the Watchmen movie.
Right, we did watch Leap Year, yeah.
It's a romance. Starts off pretty bad. Amy Adams
continues
she's trying to get a ring from her snooty boyfriend Adam Scott.
Right.
Which is really funny.
Right.
Like he's playing this kind of character he played in everything before he got more famous.
Yeah.
So she's like, I'm gonna marry Adam Scott, but then it's like, but he didn't propose, so he gave her earrings. So she's like, he has to go to Dublin for a cardiologist convention, and so her dad, John Lithgow, who's like an Irish drunk,
love it.
He's like, your grandma proposed on leap year, on the leap day, a woman can propose to a man. Bonnie lass.
Scottish, but yeah.
Whatever. And then they all say lass.
Bonnie.
And Bonnie. They do, I'm sure. Anyway, so she's like, I need to go get engaged. Oh my God, I'm almost 30 or whatever.
Yeah.
So she flies to Ireland, all ready to propose to him, but then a bunch of adventures happen, and she falls in love with Ozymandias, who is a simple Irish man who
he's a cab driver or something.
He's he like runs a pub and he gives stuff to her straight, and he's like, life's not about money.
Yeah.
It's about being sexy and Irish.
He's so right.
Yeah, so it's actually like a cute, bad rom-com that takes place in Ireland, so there's a lot of pretty shots of Ireland. So you watch that, you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yes, It's Always Sunny is a great Irish... Actually, there's a TV tropes page about the classic vaudeville comedy duo of the Irishman and the Jew. And it talks about how like the Jewish comedian's usually more neurotic, more intellectualized, right? More self-effacing, and the Irish comedian's usually more emotional, usually more superstitious, more family-oriented. And that page pointed out that It's Always Sunny is the Irishman to Seinfeld's Jew. where it's a group of people who are deeply
Terrible.
unlikable and do terrible things.
Deplorable.
But Seinfeld is usually more self-aware. It's more intellectualized. It's more wordy. It's Always Sunny. They're all family connected in some way, and it's very violent and very emotive and very out of control.
That's so true.
So that's a great example of that.
It's Always Sunny, Irish
yeah.
Seinfeld.
I was gonna say, if you want to watch the boy story about the Irish, especially with a sozzled Irish dad,
A sozzled Irish.
check out the film Warrior. I believe it's on Hulu, maybe Netflix. It's a movie about MMA, but it's got Nick Nolte in an Academy Award nominated performance as the now sober sozzled Irish American dad, and his kids are Tom Hardy and Joel.
Edgerton?
Yes, Joel
Oh,
Edgerton.
I got it! Ding, ding,
Joel
ding.
Edgerton, you nailed it. I couldn't understand say Joel Kinnaman. That's a different actor.
You could...
But Joel Edgerton, and they're all West Pennsylvania, like my family, Irish Americans, and Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton are both MMA fighters. Although Tom Hardy is a returning veteran, Joel Edgerton is a teacher with a past as an MMA fighter. And do they end up fighting? They do.
Wow.
But watch the film; it's beautiful.
Yeah, you could watch Outlander or Brave and just
For
pretend.
Scottish stuff.
You could
yeah,
watch Men
sure.
in Kilts, which is a Star's original show
For more Scottish stuff.
about Scotland. That's
Yep.
really cute.
Different country.
Different country.
But it's it's still Celtic.
But it's Celtic. You could watch Boondock Saints.
Yeah, I don't watch Boondock Saints so much, but you could.
People
but
like it. Some people like it.
People like it. Watch The Departed.
The Departed.
One of the great Irish-American mob movies. And The Irishman.
The Irishman.
But The Departed's more Irish than The Irishman is.
The Irishman has an Italian playing an Irishman.
De Niro's half Irish.
Oh,
He's one of
yeah.
ours. Yeah, we got him.
Well, we got him as well.
Oh, fuck.
We're just fighting over De Niro.
Just the sound of Tommy guns and the episode ends.
So
It does have an Italian playing a German, though.
Oh, well, yes. Al Pacino
As a Hoffa, yeah.
is Jimmy Hoffa. So have a fun, safe St. Patrick's Day. Maybe listening to this will make you see it with a new light.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I know that there's issues around St. Patrick, but the reality is that the thing that St. Patrick's Day celebrates, the idea of Irish nationality,
The idea of like
Irish
small
independence.
redhead men that, bring good luck and leave gold places for you.
Sure, I mean, as a somewhat large brown-haired man, I'm a little jealous, but sure, small redhead men, why not? But
And I go, watch that Simpsons Treehouse of Horror where
Definitely.
there's a leprechaun and it's very scary.
Definitely very scary. But, the idea of Irish independence, the idea of Irish self-determination, the idea of Irish nationality is important.
Yeah, and it's fun to, have a day, especially with all this quarantine madness.
Get their ass.
Make some Irish food like mashed potatoes or boiled potatoes or
Alright.
or what else?
Getting
Corned
a little racist.
corned beef.
Corned beef is not an Irish food.
Okay, what? What
corned
then?
beef. Wait, I want to tell the story of corned beef. Corned beef.
I'm gonna start calling you corned beef.
Please, for the love of God, do not do that.
Hey, corned beef.
Corned beef is an American food. It came because the Irish community in New York wanted certain kinds of meats that they didn't bring.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe they were actually made of pork originally. And the Jewish deli owners were like, look, we don't have pork, but we can salt some beef. You might like it? We like it pretty good. And they did end up liking it.
That's
but
so
corned beef
cute.
is New York Jewish food that was
But
made
it's
for the Irish.
Irish American.
Yeah, it was made for the Irish.
So
yeah.
it's even more
Yeah.
special to being in America.
Yeah.
Irish American thing. So have some corned beef and cabbage.
That's right.
Have some. There was a place in Portland that around St. Patrick's Day, they would do a like corned beef and cabbage and mashed potato burrito that was
Mm-hmm.
actually really good. So have some fun because there's nothing else to do.
That's right. And
Fight for your vaccine.
I'm gonna end this with a quote
Okay.
from James Connolly, who was a member of the Irish Republican movement in the early 20th century, a strong proponent of Irish independence, of Irish sovereignty. And unlike some of the others, he was a socialist, an avowed socialist.
Yeah.
In fact, I have the James Connolly reader in my library now. I'm going to end with this quote, where he says, "If you strike at us, imprison, or kill us, out of our prisons or graves, we will still evoke a spirit that will thwart you, and perhaps raise a force that will destroy you. We defy you. Do your worst."
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, James Connolly.
Well, we wish all you rugger buggers, even you idiots and morons, a no guff. And have a happy St. Patrick's Day. And I hope that you are sucking diesel and wired to the moon.
Yeah, I don't know what a lot of that means, but me too. Me too, brother.
Sorry, it's Irish.
Oh, geez. Okay, you're right.
Good night, and a good cluck to ya.
Hi-de-tie-de-tie-de-tie.